I actually had friends asking me, is it safe to buy this figure because they are concerned about the long-term durability. Will the figure lean? Is the figure unstable or very wobbly because she is standing on one single foot peg, one single foot? But this is where I was very pleasantly surprised by how stable this figure is. Perhaps it is that foot peg over there. That foot peg is very thick, very long. Just the way she likes it. Hi and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Caenis Studio. I'm Steven, today with a figure unboxing as well as a review. Yes, the figure is already assembled on my desk, but we will go back in time half a day in a moment and I'll show you guys the unboxing process. In February 2023, Good Smile released a lot of good scale figures in one single month, like 5 or 6 of them, all high-end, high-quality scale figures that go for 20 plus up to 30,000 yen. There was one Minato Aqua from Hololive, there was one from Toho as well, that was an excellent figure. You have to wonder how they managed to push out so many high quality scale figures in a month. And this one right here is one of them. We are looking at Good Smile Company's 1x7 scale Caenis, a Lancer class servant from Fate's Grand Order. So before we go into more details on the figure, I shall show you guys the unboxing video now. I filmed it right there on my new filming station right in front of me. Yeah, right there. So I have a new set of lights and a new setup, and hopefully the footage will be a lot cleaner than filming it right here on my desk. So without further ado, let's go. And that concludes the assembly process of this figure. There are actually quite a number of parts you have to put together. And when I took the figure out of the box, while the box isn't as big as Soji Okita, which was my last Good Smile FGO figure I reviewed and assembled, well, this one is way easier to assemble, fortunately. Soji Okita was quite the nightmare. I was so afraid of breaking something. Not really the case with this figure of Caenis as long as you follow the instruction sheet. Very straightforward, very simple. That is all great news. Not to mention, every single part fits very accurately. They fit very nicely. Neither too loose nor too tight. So if you want to take the figure apart later and put her back in her box, not an issue. The only one part I don't like about the assembly process or the fitting is this spear she's holding. As you can see, yeah, it is fairly easy to take out the spear. This is a bit too loose to my liking, but at the same time, given how thin the plastic is, I suppose that being loose is actually a good thing because you are less likely to break it. And it doesn't fall off, so I guess that is fine. A quick mention about her box. So this is what her box looks like. Not the prettiest box in the world, but very solid, hard cardboard. And this is the kind of box I really like when I see it being used in anime figures because while they are not attractive, it is very solid, very hard, and it is very difficult to dent a box like this even if your postage service, your courier treat your parcel badly, right? Unless, yeah, they put something heavy on top. And that's the usual Type Moon sticker. Yeah, so we shall put the box aside. This figure of Caenis is about 26 centimeters tall. That is typical for 1/7 scale. And the official retail price is 26,800 yen. Yeah, just call it 27,000 yen at this point, which isn't a cheap figure. I got her for a slight discount at like 23,000 yen or so. And of course, there is shipping cost on top of that. So by all means, this isn't a cheap figure. Personally, I don't really know much about the character background of Caenis right here, even though I'm a fan of the Fate series. And she is still one of my most wanted, most anticipated figure of the year simply because I like girls with huge weapons and armor parts all over the place. And I love characters where they have this, waist turn pose like that, and this is exactly what we're getting with this figure. She is turning around her body while having an action pose. This is something very attractive to me. Even in photography, she is a very photogenic figure, so I kind of wanted her badly. And finally, she was released back last month in February 2023. Moving on to the actual figure itself, you really have to wonder how Good Smile manages to release half a dozen different figures at this level of quality. Because when I look at the sculpt of the figure, lots of details everywhere, there really isn't anything wrong with the figure. The face expression especially, that is something very important with this figure. That very confident looking expression where you hit into battle, maybe leading your own squad, right? And Good Smile absolutely nailed her face over here. That face expression looks amazing. That is perhaps my favorite part of this figure. And not to mention the sculpting of the figure, especially her torso, her waist region over here. You can see all those abs and muscles. And it is not hard to show you guys the details around her waist because it doesn't take much lighting to show you guys all these curves around the body, all the shadows that form. I don't really see much shading or weathering on the paint job around her waist, at least the skin region, yet I was able to show you guys the abs and all those details, all the sculpting. It shows that the sculpt department of this figure is really good. Like, the muscles are sculpted very well, so a bit of shadow from a light source and you'll be able to see all those abs around it, and I love that a lot. However, if there is one issue I have with the sculpting, it has to be her boobs. Yes. So you see this clothes over here where it covers half of her breast, right? I really wish that, like the clothes will be pressing into her boobs a bit so that you get this sculpture. I'm not sure how to put it in words, but when you look at anime figures that wear stockings and they have very thick thighs, you can see some of the skin going in, curving in due to the tightness of the outfit and then, curving back out. I would really love to see this effect around her breast over there, like, you know, the clothes is a bit tight and it pushes in the breast a bit, and that would make the sculpture look a lot more amazing. Yeah, that is my opinion anyway, but I think the breast region can be improved upon the sculpting part. Moving on to the paint job, when this figure was revealed and went on pre-order last year, I had a concern where if Good Smile doesn't get the white color paint right, all those armor and her shield, they might look very plasticky and cheap. They don't look like metal to me. So the problem with this figure's character design is that there is a lot of white color going on. And if you don't get the white color paint right, you paint glossy white all over the place, all those armor parts, they look like plastic. They won't look metallic, and that was my major concern. But fortunately, the figure actually turns out okay. There is a mix of matte as well as glossy white around, and I think Good Smile did a great job with the execution over there. For example, this shoulder armor, the gauntlet, and also around her hips, her waist, all those armor parts, they look like matte white to me. The white color paint over there, it looks a bit metallic, and they are not very glossy. This is either semi-gloss or even matte. I think it is semi-gloss. The shield is indeed painted in gloss white though, but thanks to the metallic golds over there, it does not look very plasticky. So that is a really clever way of tricking our eyes to make it look metallic even though it is not. So regarding the paint quality, like, are there any quality control issues? Are there any scratches? Things like that. I'm happy to report that this figure is almost perfect in the paint job. I'm very happy with this figure. So no matter how hard I look, I don't see any bad seam lines. I don't see adhesive or glue leaking out between seam lines. There is no paint transfer, no scratches, not even a dust spot. I mentioned before, dust spots are becoming very common, but I don't see any on this figure, and I'm very happy about it. If there is one single part where I try my very best to nitpick, it is this armor over here around her left hip. The border between the black and white paint over there, yes, you can see some white color paint bleeding over into the black color region. That is the only part where I can see some paint bleeding going on. Everywhere else around the figure, the painting is precise enough, fortunately. So the paint job on this figure, it is more like an 8.5 or 9 out of 10. That is pretty good already. I almost never give full scores for any figures. You need to bear in mind. And then we move on to the base of this figure over here. I was kind of surprised by how weighty it is. I was expecting your typical, you know, hollow round plastic base, but this thing has some weight to it. Like, there are 2 layers of plastic, I think, 2 or 3 layers. So it feels more compact than usual. It has some weight, and it will improve the stability of the figure, which is always a good thing. As for the design of the base, it is actually okay enough, but personally I would wish to see a bit of diorama, maybe some rocks and some sand, you know, but that is just me, by the way. That kind of base would have increased the figure price to over 30,000 yen, of course. And lastly, regarding the foot pack, I actually had friends asking me, is it safe to buy this figure, because they are concerned about the long-term durability. Will the figure lean? Is the figure unstable or very wobbly because, you know, she is standing on one single foot peg, one single foot? But this is where I was very pleasantly surprised by how stable this figure is. Perhaps it is that foot peg over there. That foot peg is very thick, very long, just the way she likes it. So the foot peg goes in very deep into her foot, yet at the same time, it wasn't difficult to push the figure all the way down. It is like, no, the foot slides in very smoothly, and despite the length of the foot peg, it isn't difficult to remove the figure from the base. You just need a slightly firm force and can pull it out. I push it in and pull it out a few times. Wow, that is the smoothest assembly process I had with any figure in recent memory. It is like every part fits so well, just nice. So this is nice quality control coming from Good Smile. I'm very happy about this. And that is all about the review of this figure of Caenis over here. 1:7 scale, 26 centimeters tall, almost 27,000 yen. But if you are being a bit more patient, unlike me, you wait for another month or two, her price might come down a bit. Maybe you'll be able to find her for about 20,000 yen or even 19,000 yen, I don't know. But I don't see this figure staying at 27,000 yen for that long. It'll come down a bit. So is this figure of Caenis a good buy? Absolutely yes. If you like Fate's Grand Order or you like Caenis specifically, this is the figure to go for. What are the other options of Caenis out there? If you want other figures of her, there was one price figure. It is a Bandai Ichiban Kuji, I think. So for a price figure, it is fairly overpriced. It is very expensive. And then I think Our Treasure, this brand called Our Treasure, they are making a swimsuit version of this figure, of this character, Caenis. So if you want more figures of her, do look forward to that one by Our Treasure. I don't think I'll be picking up that one. I'm very happy with this one already. But if Alter or any other brand, Amakuni, I'm looking at you. If you are making other ascensions of this character, Caenis, in a different armor, different color, yes, I will be picking them up as well. So that concludes today's figure review of this Caenis over here by Good Smile. Thank you very much for watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this review, please do give this review a like and subscribe to this channel for more figure reviews like this in the future. Thank you once again and see you very soon. Goodbye.